Episode 2, Navigating Through Adulthood, Quincy Harris. Man, thank you for everybody that listened to last week's show. We are in the process of getting the show on iTunes. Man, I did this myself, so I'm pretty proud. I'm proud. So yeah, it should be on iTunes soon. Right now it's on SoundCloud, and you can check it out on quincyharris.com. Man, people, so many things happened this week. What do I want to talk about first? This is what I want to let you guys know. You know how people like, man, I'm trying to give up certain things for the new year. No, can I tell y'all what I'm addicted to? And I'm like serious about it. I'm addicted to Trader Joe's. I don't know if you guys have ever been in the store. I want to make a song about it. They're not giving me any advertising dollars. That store is like heaven, okay? When I was like super like fat, I was never super fat, but when I was like bigger, I would go in there. I would eat these Trader Joe's cookies. They got Trader Joe's O's, the vanilla with the vanilla bean. Oh my gosh. And then the hickory barbecue chips. Have you ever, please do yourself a favor, go inside of Trader Joe's and shop. Another thing I'm addicted to, salmon, Atlantic salmon from Whole Foods. I don't know where I guess they get it from the Atlantic. It is some of the best salmon. It's better than salmon I will get from like a really high-end restaurant. Do I sound bougie? I hope. This is what I'm trying to come across. Yeah, my life is changing, people. Atlantic salmon, that's like $14.99 a pound from Whole Foods in Trader Joe's. Okay, is it on fleek? Yeah, we'll say yeah. That's what's on fleek to me. Here's the one thing that I don't understand, right? So I live in the Philly area, but I live like kind of in the suburbs. And I knew like growing up, I could just go outside and play. Like it was like tons of like kids that you can play with. Like we had so many kids in my neighborhood that I think every neighborhood in the inner city kind of grew up like this. You would beef with the next neighbor, like the next block over. Like I was from Magnolia Street. So Magnolia Street sometimes didn't like Walnut Lane, and I lived on Magnolia and Walnut Lane, so it was like, who you with, right? And then Top of Hockin sometimes didn't like Walnut Lane, and then Haynes Street hated everybody. I mean, it was just so many kids in just like a 5-block radius that, you know, you didn't have to play with everybody. It was just that many kids. Now, they have these things called like play spaces, right? So my wife, she's like, hey, we got to take the kids to the play space. And I'm like, what's a play space? And she's like, well, you know, and she's looking at me like I'm crazy, like I'm an idiot because she's like in education. So she's like, well, okay. And she's like super sarcastic. Well, you go and pay $10. We don't have to pay $10, but we take the kid and we pay $10 and then they can play inside. And I'm like, what? What part of the game is it? Like indoor play spaces? I've never heard of this ever in my life. So we go to this indoor play space, right? And it's literally like a playground inside. Now, I'm bugging because I never grew up like this. Like I had so many friends. It was like Jason and Justin and Anthony and Glenn and, you know, oh, they're going to do some Haynes Street, Lil John from High Street. It was like so many kids. And now my kid, I have to pay for my kid. It's like an arranged, like, playing for my kid. Like, come on, man. What? I feel like I never grew up like this. This is so foreign to me. So like now I got to teach my kid how to play. Like, okay, hey, say hello to somebody, and it just feels forced. It feels like my kid. I'm not giving my kid a running start at socializing in life because I have to pay $10 for him for friends. I have to pay $10 for friends for my kid. It's just weird. Like the neighborhood we're in, like people, they don't speak, and that's good with me because I don't like speaking, right? So, I speak a little bit, but I don't like having a heavy conversation, right? So we're in the play space, and he's like playing, and then kids are being mean, and then like the parents are looking at me, and then like I want to start slap boxing, and because you don't remember slap boxing, if you never slap box, we would slap box growing up. It was just for fun, like up to 5. Like whoever can get 5 taps on each other's head, the first person to 5 wins. You have another friend referee it. These are the type of things we would do in my neighborhood. So for my kid I have to pay $10 for him to like have friends. It's sad. It's sad to me. It really saddens my heart. It really saddens my heart. You know, another thing that saddens my heart, I'm African American. My wife is African American. And, you know, we run into some people at the store that we know from the neighborhood, right? And, you know, my oldest son is 3 years old. And this lady says, "Oh, you know, how you doing?" And my son's talking back. And, you know, he can talk a little bit. I mean, he should talk. He's 3, right? So the lady says, "Oh, my gosh, you talk so well, just like your mommy and daddy." And of course, she's not African American. And I'm looking at this lady and I'm like, "What do you mean he talks so well? Like, it's like, what do you expect my kids to talk like? Like, do you expect them to talk like world star hip hop? Like, I don't understand that. It's just it's a weird place. It's like you try to do better. You move to like a suburb and then people think like, I don't know, like you're ignorant. And I'm not ignorant. So it's just a weird thing. So now we're thinking about moving back into like the city. So my kid, I don't have to pay $10 for my kid to go to a play space, right? But then the educational system in the city is just so bad. It's just, these are the things you have to deal with. It's just navigating through adulthood. Guys, this is another thing I want to let you know. If you have kids, you have to remember any and everything you do, you're like their program director. Like in radio, we would have program directors who are our boss. And then you're like, why is that song playing so much over and over and over? Well, for the simple fact, the song's playing over and over because they want to program you. So you'll know the song, the record company gives, you know, the radio stations the song, and then they program it in your head, and then you buy the song, and then the song, when the artist comes to town, you go see them. So it's all programming. And it's the same thing with your kid. You could program your kid. So I love the new Tiger song. What was it? Chick, What It Work Like? So I think it's called Make It Work. So I love the song, and I start listening to it, and my son loves the song now, right? So I was like, ooh, you're a program director. You gotta change his vision, right? So I played MC Hammer's Pray for my son, and now he loves Pray. So I'm, you know, in that every night we say prayers or whatever. So tonight he wanted to hear Pray. Listen to this.
Pray again.
What song?
Pray again.
You want to hear Pray again?
Yeah.
How does the song go?
Pray. We got to pray just to make it today.
I said we pray.
Pray. We have to pray just to make it today. We got to pray just to make it today.
Now that made me feel good because I'm like, man, instead of him wanting to hear Tiger's new song, he wanted to hear Pray. You know why? Because I kept playing it over and over. Now he's requesting it. Boom. I felt good. It was a good dad moment. I feel like Nancy Grace. I don't know if you ever watch Nancy Grace. She always talks about her kids, but I felt like a good dad. I felt like a really good dad. Like it felt good. Okay. That was the high of my day. The low of my day. I taped this on Sunday. Stuart Scott from ESPN passed away. I'm telling y'all, I had real tears this morning when I woke up and found out that Stuart Scott passed away, because he was one of these guys that like connected with the hip hop culture. Like, you know, a lot of my, you know, our parents, or if you're like 30s or 20s, like the stories you hear from our parents is like, oh, I like Ed Bradley. He was the first black man to ever be on 60 Minutes. He was the first black man I would see on television. Like, for us, if you're growing up and you're a little younger, you're like 20s or 30s, seeing black people on TV was the norm for you. But the way Stuart Scott, he connected to a youth culture in hip hop, that when I would watch him, like I saw Rick Williams on TV when I was younger, Yuki Washington, but when I saw Stuart Scott, and he's kicking, like he's spitting rap lyrics from like Wu-Tang and like Shaq and like Martin, You So Crazy, like it blew me away. It literally blew me away just seeing him. So to hear that he passed away today, it like hurt me, because honestly, if it wasn't for somebody like Stuart Scott, like allowing the hip hop culture be in the mainstream and people feel comfortable, I don't think I would have even got a shot to be on Fox 29. You understand what I'm saying? Like, he made it okay. I'm not saying I wasn't talented, but the things I'm allowed to do, I'm allowed to just be me on TV for somebody because somebody like Stuart Scott paved the way. So rest in peace to Stuart Scott. Man, that really hurt my heart today. And I just hope that I can do the same for other people that Stuart Scott has done for me. Today's interview, guys, I interviewed RZA, and me and RZA had like a deep conversation. We were talking about film, we were talking about music, and I want you to check this out. I will see y'all next week. Episode 3, Navigating Through Adulthood. Quincy Harris, formerly Q Deezy. Me and RZA, take it away. RZA, how did you, when you thought of just the idea of the Wu-Tang, was this always the end result to, direct movies, produce movies, and then, act in, movies and TV shows?
Nah, honestly, I can't say this was the end result. I mean, when I was devising the Wu-Tang idea and ideology of MC and hip-hop, my goal was to chop everybody's heads off and become the best hip-hop dudes in the world. You know what I mean? Protect Your Neck was our first song, and that was how we felt. We felt like we was coming towards the industry, not just the rappers in the industry, even the A&Rs. Like Jizza said, first of all, who's your A&R? We came to infiltrate and conquer the industry. Now, to think that years later, Method Man will be making movies, or I'll be making movies, or Ghostface will end up on TV. And, now, I don't think this was part of the plan. This is something that evolved during the course. Now, for myself, I had dreams, of course. I mean, I used to walk to school, as a kid between the age of 9 and 14. I would walk to school dreaming about Kung Fu movies because I just was in love with them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would put myself in the movie, as I dreamed. To think that one day, I would meet the real master killer, Gordon Liu.
Wow.
Or when you hear the Wu-Tang album, you hear the song called Wu-Tang Clan Ain't Nothing to F With, and it starts off Tiger Style.
Yeah.
Well, the actor from that movie, the lead actor from that movie is in my movie.
Wow.
When you hear Old Dirty Bastard album, he has a song called Rawhide.
What?
Horse
Come
style.
on, dog.
Dragon Fist, Horse, Bastard, I didn't know who you were. That actor is in my movie. The Man with the Iron Fist.
Did that blow your mind?
Yo, yeah. I'm like this, yo. I'm like all praises due because we're taught that dreams don't come true. We're taught that, we're gonna be dead or in jail by 25. You know what I mean? And it took me all the way to get to the age of 40 to see materialization of dreams. But the trick is that, and I'll just say this esoteric thing to you real quick. The trick is that the mind is the governing factor. You know what I'm saying? Thought waves just travel faster than any other wave. But eventually, the thought wave will ground itself and materialize into the physical form. So in the book of John, where it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was with God. The Word was God, and the Word became flesh. Okay, it took time for the Word to become flesh. If you think about all the people who thought about, we watch, even just in the 50s and 60s, you'll watch something on an old movie, and now you'll see it in your hand. When Captain Kirk was like, yeah, Scotty, communicator, man, we got communicators. We could actually see each other on our phones now. But this was just an idea at that time. Or when the great Dr. King had a vision that one day, a black man will have a strong position in this world. Or you watch Do the Right Thing. I never forget the scene where Spike Lee is arguing with the other piece of brother about one day the black man is gonna, rule the world. What the heck you talking? You didn't hear him listen. He thought Spike was just talking trash, but at the same time, because of our country is a growing country, because of we all evolved to an understanding that all of a sudden we have a President Obama sitting here. I mean, as the image of the free world. You know what I mean? So this is from thoughts happening years ago and then finally materializing.
Got you.
So I think the same thing happens in an artist's life. Me as an artist, having certain dreams and visions. If we live long enough, we'll see them. And if you don't live long enough to see them, and your dream is still strong, it could be realized by somebody else, whether your son, or whether somebody that was inspired by you. We was inspired by the brothers of the '60s. My mother named me Robert F. Diggs because she was inspired by Robert Kennedy, and she was inspired by John F. Kennedy. So she named me after these two men. And of course, as a young man, I didn't like those names. But as a grown man, I respect that because they stood for freedom. They stood for better civil positions for people. And when I see myself sometimes, whether doing feasts of the 12 Jews, giving kids food to eat, or whether we going to schools and talking, it's all part of those characteristics that those men died for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't have to die for that. We can live for it now.
Yeah.
They already gave their lives and sacrificed for us. So now we can live out some of these dreams that was brought up in the 60s.
Yeah. You just blew my mind. Like, I'm literally talking to RZA, and he's dropped jewels on so many albums, but like for you to be sitting right here and saying the stuff you're saying is blowing my mind. The one thing I saw about, when I saw you doing like movies and TV, the one scene that I saw in the movie that kind of blew my mind, it was small, but it was strong. And I was like, yo, I can't believe RZA is going opposite Robert Downey Jr. and Due Date. Like, that was like, I was like, dude, I used to listen to this dude in 9th grade. Now this dude he's acting like he's a TSA worker, and he's y'all were going back and forth, man.
Yeah,
like,
funny.
how did you even get into that whole transition of? I know you have a strong relationship with Quentin Tarantino, but just talk about like the transition from music to the movies, because a lot of people out here, they think they just have to do one thing,
Right.
And
Well, I always thought, that once I found that the artistic expression was like a wavelength, more like, let's say, like music itself is music, right? So music could be played through a piano, a horn, a violin, different instruments, but it's music. So once I realized that art was similar, you could take any art and put it through an artist, you know what I mean? And so I felt like I'm an instrument. It's whether somebody's gonna blow jazz through me or blow rock and roll through me or whatever they're gonna do, I'm gonna let myself be that vehicle. When I realized that, I guess it opened up my mind to accept, to even take a chance. My first movie was Derailed. And in that movie, that character gets killed. Okay, and that's a very humbling thing because, woo ain't nothing to mess with and all this aggression that I have. Now I'm about to play a guy who's kind of quirky and he's going to get blown away. Why would I do that? You know what I mean? I took the advice from Harvey Weinstein. He said, come do my movie. I think you are natural. You have a new career. So I took the leap of faith with him.
But just to even know Harvey Weinstein, like, that's...
Well, I met him because of the Kill Bill movies by
Okay.
He said this to me. I never told nobody this. This is what he said to me. He said that when Kill Bill was done and they did a premiere screening in Boston, he said for the first time, he's done hundreds of movies, the first time he ever seen that when it said music by RZA, the audience clapped. Usually, they clap for a star.
Yeah.
He never seen nobody clapping for music. Usually they says goes by. You don't even read that part. He said, so it was peculiar to him. And he told me about it. He said, I never seen that before. Like, people, your name came up on the screen and the audience clapped. I said, I don't know. It's only my second one because I did Ghost Dog and did Kill Bill. So that struck him to kind of have an interest in me. Then he had a chance to meet me, talk with me, and see what kind of man I am. And he saw that I had a certain kind of ability, I guess, and he gave me a shot. And once I did Derailed, it opened up the door to other points.
Wow. Man, RZA, we could go on. I see people, I understand they're rapping me. I wish we could talk some more. RZA, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, bro.
Thanks, Q.